Right, a major gas plant in Qatar has halted production after Iranian attacks on its facilities. The Gulf state is one of the world's top LNG producers. You know, the LNG that we're going to have coming to a port in Taranaki soon, alongside the US, Australia and Russia. The response has been immediate, with gas prices surging by almost 50% in Europe. Experts are warning gas and oil prices will continue to rise as shipping routes in the Strait of Hormuz are disrupted by the war. And just on that, there are plenty of Kiwi, so it's not just LNG, it's not just gas, it's not just oil, but also fertiliser for farmers. A third of the world's fertiliser comes through that strait as well. Obviously, we have a lot of farmers here. And on that, we've got ships that have New Zealand produce on board, about 4,000 containers worth currently on water. And we're trying to figure out, this is Fonterra and Silver Fern Farms who own the shipping company. They're trying to figure out where are they going to go, where can they dock. So all of those things happening this morning. And for more on not just that, but the markets and what's happening on Wall Street, let's go down now to the US market expert, Greg Boland, who's at the desk with me. Greg, good morning.
Good morning.
Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Let's start on Wall Street, where it's up this morning.
It started down, so overnight the European markets were all down around 2% and some of the Asian markets were down, but then the US started down about 1% in the Dow, about 0.8 in the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. That was at 3:30 our time when the US market opens, which is 9:30 New York. And by 7 o'clock the markets had rallied. The NASDAQ was up about 0.5%, and the Dow was flat, and the S&P 500 was up about 0.1. So yes, the market has rallied since the open.
And what does that tell us? Does that tell us that there is a different calculation going on about how quickly this thing ends, or an overreaction initially?
Well, I think the reaction really was in the overnight markets, yes, and more mooted today in the US. There's definitely different sectors that have rallied. The defence stocks have rallied, all up about 5%, and as has the oil stocks. And yet on the other side of the coin, you've got a lot of the cruise lines like Carnival and the like, and they're down about 10%, and as well as airlines and resorts and hotels all down.
They use a lot of oil.
Well, they use oil, but also no one's going to travel. So you think of Qantas was down 5%, Delta's down 5%, United's down 5%. So people aren't going to travel as much necessarily in the short term.
Tell us about the 10 a.m. rule, Greg.
The 10 a.m. rule. So the market opens at 9:30, and a lot of people think that by sort of 10 a.m. the market has done its dash for the day, and it's a good indicator for the rest of the day. So if we look at the market this morning, it definitely opened lower by around 10 a.m. New York. The market had rallied off the bottom, so you know that was the idea that the market will continue to go higher because it all rallied in that first half an hour.
Greg, looking back over history, and I was reading one of the fund managers this morning talking about if it's a headline-driven, you know, bumps and dips and peaks and troughs.
Yep.
Nothing you need to worry about really if you've got a long-term KiwiSaver investment, for example. Whereas if there's underlying, you know, unemployment issues or inflation or something like that, those are the times you really got to worry about markets moving.
Yes.
True?
Yes, that's true. So if you think of unemployment numbers in the US come out this coming Saturday, and they'll be an indicator of, you know, how economically the US is doing, and you know, there's thoughts that, you know, when there's a risk-off situation like this situation, bonds should rally, the dollar should rally, etc. And so there's a move to safe haven things. That's not really happening at all. And then if you look at the futures price on oil, so there's a spot price and then there's a futures price each month. If we go out those further months, they aren't elevated. If they were elevated, then people would think this would be going on for some time, and at the moment they're not. So they're really trading around the same as a spot level. West Texas Intermediate around $70. Yes, it's up 5 or 6% today, but that forward curve is indicating that what's the problem.
Interesting stuff. And the markets always know, don't they?
Market's always right.
And market's always right. Hey, good to have you in the studio this morning, Greg. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
That is Greg Boland, US markets expert.